Grief turned to anger for a young man whose parents died in a tragic murder-suicide inside Valley Hospital.
Yet tonight, the couple's son blames the hospital for his parents' deaths, saying his mother's suicide note complains about the care at the hospital. Reporter Allison McCarthy joins us with an exclusive on-camera interview with the couple's son. Allison.
Dave, Kit Capper was actually on his honeymoon when he says police called to tell him both of his parents were dead. He says he knew his father was critically ill, but it wasn't until he returned home and read his mother's journals that he realized just how distressed she was and why.
It pretty much is summed up in the note that she left.
Kit Capper says 2 days before his parents' deaths, his mother wrote a suicide note describing how she could not bear to see her husband of 30 years suffering without any relief.
I know that she couldn't stand everything that was going on.
Kit says his father, 55-year-old Mike Capper, was deteriorating physically and mentally during his 2-week stay in Valley's intensive care unit. Kit says his mother, Susan, sat in a wooden chair by his father's side for 14 to 18 hours a day, while countless tests revealed no conclusive diagnosis.
Anytime they thought it might be something, they would give him drugs for that. And more drugs. Last 2 or 3 days, things had made a turn for the worst on my dad's condition. And he was sinking deeper and farther away.
One day before Susan Capper decided to shoot her husband, then take her own life, Kit says she made a final entry in her journal about the treatment her husband was receiving at Valley Hospital, including the words, "They just treat people like junkies and crazy people, and they are responsible."
If they even cared a little, it wouldn't have happened.
Kit Capper says his parents fell in love at first sight when his mom was just 16 years old. More than 30 years later, their lives still revolved around each other. Kit believes his mother's actions were a desperate act of love.
Absolutely. A love beyond everything else.
Kit says as he rereads his mother's suicide note, his shock and grief turn to anger.
I absolutely feel the same way she does. As she said, they are responsible. And they need to step up and change things.
Back live now, Valley Hospital says due to federal patient privacy laws, it cannot comment on the specifics of what happened inside the hospital on that day, Monday, but added that Valley's hospitals, nurses, and physicians are constantly assessing patient and family needs and will request appropriate resources as needed, including counseling. However, the hospital could not say what services or support, if any, were afforded to the Capners. Reporting live, I'm Allison McCarthy for 8 News Now.
All right, Allison. Valley Hospital also told 8 News Now that its staff is trained to look for symptoms of stress in family members who have spent long periods of time with loved ones in the hospital. In a statement, the hospital adds, "We understand firsthand how emotionally and physically draining it is to provide support for a loved one in medical crisis. We also emphasize the importance of self-care, sleeping, not missing meals, and taking brief walks."